Check this donut out. Pretty cool, huh? It's a good looking donut. This donut is being completely created and rendered by an FPGA. This is something that I guess has existed on multiple platforms, and someone ported it to the Mister. And so we have FPGA spinning donut. There's no control here. I cannot rotate the donut. I cannot move the donut to any degree. But it's a pretty good looking donut. It's a full-on separate core. Like, there are a few cores for the Mister that are, you know, just not necessarily games. Or rather, not necessarily like emulator based. Like, people have coded things. Now we're gaming. Does Mister's FPGA have a CPU core as well? I mean, there is a CPU in this. There's the HPS. There's a separate, there's kind of a Linux side to this that is a more traditional non-FPGA thing. And so, you know, kind of uses that to load that and whatever. But yeah, there's an ARM CPU on this thing in addition to the FPGA. And so they kind of work in concert to bring you the goods. I'm going to play a little bit of this because we were talking about it. Because it came up last week when we were ranking 8-bit Nintendo games. And then we'll probably get off the Mister. But I don't know, just enjoying that donut. And I'm going to have to turn so that I can see. And I can maybe push that button to get the game audio in my headphones, assuming that that will work. Here it is in its original form. Everyone's favorite, Alfred Chicken. I was talking about this with Danny O'Dwyer last night. He and I need to sit down and play a lot of Amiga games, I think. But so because the Amiga was a, you know, traditional kind of 2600 joystick by and large, this is a game that doesn't seem to use the buttons at all. It's just the D-pad, or just a joystick. So it's up to jump, hold up to float, and then down to dive. There's a CD32 version of this that presumably uses the gamepad more effectively than this, but I don't have that version of the game to play right now. So there. You can see that this is the same level design found in the NES version of the game. Though everything is a little bit larger, and so you see less on screen, and it's terrible. It's actually like it's a real negative that everything is bigger and more detailed, because it's harder just to fucking see anything. I'm getting some tearing on this image when I... but it's not showing up on the capture, I guess, so at least there's that. So in some ways, I think this is actually a worse version of the game than the NES version because of its kind of larger sprites and what have you. Like, I think, you know, being able to see more of your surroundings is actually like would actually be a better use of the space. And so the larger, more detailed Alfred Chicken is not an improvement. The digital audio, the soundtrack, all this kind of tracker music style stuff here, I think it's fun for what it is. Get the watering cans. Come on over to my house. It's awfully hot in here. Maybe you should take your pants off. That's a clue, kids. Pants off. Gotta get all these diamonds, otherwise, you know, what's the point? Oh no. Did I miss one somewhere? Well, that sucks. Ah! Found it. I'll say, you know, this, having played this version of the game and seeing what it was kind of in its original form, that NES version of the game is a pretty faithful port of that. That's not necessarily a good thing, kids. But hey, at least they found a way to bring the pain to multiple platforms. The Game Boy version's even more faithful. I guess I could see that. That makes sense. Game Boy is the home of like large, like way too large characters that don't give you enough kind of visual range. Oh, I jumped on the spikes, kids. That's bad. Don't jump on the spikes. Have you ever had sex with a pharaoh? Put the snail in a sarcophagus, kids. I still fuck with Kanye West's music. I think he's, he's just a provocateur, kids. That's Alfred Chicken's take on the situation. Nothing wrong with that guy. Right, there was just like an invisible block somewhere in here, right? Yeah. What a terrible, this is fucking garbage. I don't really see why the kids in my neighborhood keep taking shits on the hood of my Cybertruck. It's a nice car. What? What's the problem, kids? Alfred Chicken is a problematic chicken, man. He's a you can't trust him. I'm just asking questions. That's a clue, kids. All right. In the interest of doing this stream and being able to see chat, we will say farewell to the mister for now. Primal Rage II. You seen this thing? New MAME came out last night. And with it, a more easily working version of Primal Rage 2. I'm trying to get this thing capturing. It's a really silly game. Like in some ways it's like they threw away everything about the first game by relegating the dinosaurs to like something that requires a super meter to bring out. The Neo Paladin. If you hold up on a character, you get secret. Okay, all right, we'll give that a go then. But first, we'll just play as, I guess, Kaze. Look at this fucking guy. Look at these clay. Look at these clay fighters. Do it. do it is a really funny finish him sort of equivalent. Oh no. This is the worst art style in any game you've ever seen. I'm kind of like... Here's the thing though. Yes, you are right. Also, what... There's something oddly compelling about its very fucked up look that I kind of... Like, I find it gross. When I look at this game, it's like a garbage pail kid. I don't know. There's something nasty and yucky about this. Something yucky about this game. I don't know if it's even... Oh, okay. I guess I lucked into figuring out a finisher. That might have been a half circle back with medium punch. I'm not sure. In some ways, this game kind of reminds me of Killer Instinct 2. Which had a fairly different look from the first game. Oops. Ugh. Oh, man. Like weirdly fluid animation in some spots that you're just like, oh, huh. So if I hold up, I get a dinosaur. Let's try again.
Versus Shank.
Nope. Like when I pushed up, there was like a tick noise. But nothing doing. I mean, I held it until the round started. We go over here. Hold up. You hear that tick noise. There. Oh, okay. You hold up until it... I see. You hold up until it actually changes, then you select the character. So now I can turn back into human form for the little auto combo. That's kind of cool. Do it. Gonna poop on her. Extinctions is a really good way to count fatalities. I don't know. I've not looked at a move list in this game at all, so I don't know. I'm just kind of mashing it out, hoping for the best. This is better than I remember. I mean, I remember looking at it back when it was a little harder to run and being like, you know, relatively dismissive of it. But this is, I don't know, this is okay. I would be interested to see people play it, you know? I don't know that I've ever watched anyone try to play it seriously. Because, you know, that's with it being an unfinished version of the game, I'm sure that there's things about the AI that are not especially well tuned and whatever else, right? In fact, I'm sure that there's balanced things in this game across the board that are probably not done. I mean, this was a version that went out on test and then, you know, never made it out. And when you look at the time it was coming out and the company that was doing, you know, like, it kind of makes sense why this game never happened. I like the idea of having, like, when you fill your meter, you do the transformation. It's like an auto combo. Like, he just does this. And you just kind of hit all 6 buttons to do it. And it's pretty easy and straightforward. I wonder if that was something that, you know, they thought like, oh, well, when we're done with the game, we'll give everyone their own, you know, supers or whatever, their own transformation moves. Or if they intended for it to be these universal inputs. Because that seems like very much like a test version kind of thing. Ice Ice Baby, he says. So what is this, like a super version of... Oh, he said something different. I didn't... Oh, so he's just got no meter. Oh, wow. That's fucking neat. They should have, I mean, you know, like test version, right? So they're testing stuff out, but like this should have been the default. Well, I don't know. There's something about having a meter and an auto combo and all that stuff that I'm sure beginner players or, you know, normal players might have liked. But I wonder what they would have settled on if this game had actually gone to market. If it would have been the free transformation, because the free transformation is actually kind of cool. Oh, God.
Versus Kaze.
Beavis and Butt. Yeah, the Beavis and Butthead game's not actually very good. The Beavis and Butthead game has appeared at California Extreme and some other places like that. It's just not. It's not a great game. Have I heard of Chicago 1922? No. I was going to say, is that the fucking Eternal Champions Game Gear game? But that's, what is that? That's something else. Vicious Circle. Yeah, I am aware of Vicious Circle. Is Vicious Circle in MAME? Is it one of the... Did a dump of that actually get out? Or is it still considered, like, lost or whatever? I don't remember. I remember hearing about Vicious Circle at some point, if nothing else, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. MAME has not gone back to them. Oh, it's giving me some kind of error message here. Weird. Yeah, Vicious Circle is in MAME. Yeah. All hell is broken loose over here when I tried to run it, though. Something about a direct 3D device. Like it won't even show me the error message. That's strange. Nope. We want general settings, video options. I mean, let's just force open GL. That'll probably do something. All right, Vicious Circle runs on Jaguar hardware. What a good idea.
Join the circle.
Stiletta.
This looks good. Let's play this. Oh.
Vicious.
This audio is all over the place. Chainsaw. Turning this down a little bit. You know, this game was never fully released. It's a prototype, so you can't expect the audio to be fully balanced. This is a great intro. Look at this. Oh man, we're gaming. Oh, it didn't say not yet. Instead, it said Berserker. We went full Berserker on him. Seven-hit combo, and I still lost. Sorry, the fight lasted too long. We don't have enough music for this.
Brilliant. Awesome. Please end my pain.
End mine while you're at it.
Terror. Be vicious.
Dude, this sucks. I mean, it's an unfinished game, so you can't. But I also like looking at this. I think it's easy to see why someone might show up and go like, yeah, we're not gonna ship this. Kind of has a Sub-Zero slide.
Malice.
Oh. Yeah, little 17-hit combo. It's an in-depth combo system. .54-hit combo. You tell Killer Instinct I said, go fuck yourself. We're in that vicious circle over here. You mean vicious cycle? No, circle. Because we can trademark that. I like that it flashes like a shitty light gun game every time I hit somebody. I used all my meter. I went full berserker, but it wasn't enough.
One-on-one.
I don't want to play this, but I'm doing so well. I like the guitars, you know, like having like the "you win" stuff be a little guitar thing that plays on top of existing music, and it never fits it. It's great. It's real good. Strong choices. Oh, hi.
I will destroy you.
Gaming. Hell yeah.
Stiletto.
Oh. Oh my.
Come on!
I wonder if this has any kind of placeholder ending or anything in it. That's literally the only reason why I'm doing this. This guy again? We already fought this guy. Or is this a different guy with the same name? I wasn't paying attention. Or maybe they just hadn't named everybody yet. If only I knew how to do the finishers, you know, we could really give these guys the business, but alas.
Chainsaw!
Chainsaw!
Come on!
Mutilation, quarter circle forward, cursor circle forward, and button 2. Oh, damn it. Back forward, down, coin button. What?
Crave!
Hey! Crave!
Taste my blood.
Do you think they were experimenting with the idea of having finishers that only happen if you put a quarter in as part of the input? Like you go back forward, and then drop a quarter in the slot, and then it does like an extra super double murder. Like that's probably what that's if they have finishers that utilize the coin button. Oh no. Like, I don't know if there's something about this guy's hitbox or what the difference is, but I can't get this bullshit going. It's always the bummer about infinites, you know, you never learn how to play the game properly, and
Uh-oh.
So double quarter circle forward and then button 2? Couldn't get it going. Yeah, I don't know. Dreadlock with no C. That's their idea. I don't know. They should have just shipped this as is, man. I don't know why they wouldn't have put this out. It's done. It's perfect. Yeah. What? Yeah, it's a real mess. You know, as prototypes go. Even their pre-recorded... When I see the crystal, I scream. Chainsaw. Like, even their little pre-recorded demos seem to rely on this horse shit of just stand in their face and do normals.
Circle. No key. I will destroy.
Man, I hope there was a boss code so you could play as Dreadlock. It's like a lack of understanding about combo systems and breakers and, like, you know, like it's like they looked at Killer Instinct and said, we could do that. And then, but didn't understand the way Killer Instinct, well, whatever. Or it's hard. The game's unfinished, right? Like, maybe it would have had, maybe they knew it needed combo breakers and all of the other obvious stuff that a game like this would need. But they just never got the time to put it in, unfortunately. You know, that's just how it goes sometimes. What's the status of Killer Instinct? Are we expecting another one at some point? No, I'm going to say probably not. I don't know. Like, I guess anything's possible, but no, I don't know that Microsoft is that interested in having a fighting game at this point. You know, there's still some light support that happens for KI at various events. I think they do still contribute to some pots here and there. They did some work recently to kind of do like an anniversary edition or whatever it was. But you know, ultimately it's up to Microsoft if they want to do a second one, and they don't, you know, they never. Fighting games on the Xbox platform are just kind of a weird thing conceptually, because the sticks don't always exist, and, you know, like, there isn't as much of a community or thing around them on that platform to make it all work. Everyone just, you know, and for an Xbox based fighting game to exist, it would then require tournament runners to bring a bunch of Xboxes to the tournament when they're already bringing a bunch of PlayStations. I mean, if you did PC, which they would, because it's modern Microsoft, it would just be a PC game as well as Xbox. Then maybe that ends up doing something. But yeah, a lot of the third-party controller support on Xbox, like, that whole situation went to shit recently with some updates they made about official or unofficial controllers, and so there's just a lot of weird things outside of whatever the game would be itself that are not really conducive to, you know, a game like that succeeding on Xbox. So I guess actually, I mean, we're talking about modern Microsoft here. That game would also be on PlayStation 5, so I wonder if they would ever just port KI 1 to PlayStation. And maybe, you know, like, do another season of work or something like that. And I wonder if they would ever... Yeah, I guess that's the old way of thinking, to think of it as an Xbox game. If everything exists on PlayStation, then maybe they could. Maybe they could have some success with a Killer Instinct game if they wanted to do a new one. But they have to want to do a new one. Like that, and the impression I've gotten out of Microsoft kind of post, you know, like, they supported Killer Instinct 1, and obviously, you know, the developer changed after the first season, or, you know, the first chunk of time or whatever, because that initial developer got bought by Amazon. And that went great. They made that Double Helix, right? That was the name of them. Did they make that G.I. Joe game that ended up being real bad? Is that what it was? I forget. And yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. It just that you know, if they wanted to do it, they could do it. But I never got the impression that that was something that they really wanted to do that much of. Oh, I have to pick a part for each one. This is like a very clunky way to do this, but. I think it would be cool. You know, I think it would be really cool to see a new Killer Instinct. I thought that they did some really neat stuff with KI. Like that whole AI lab and all of that other stuff. Like there was just a lot of neat ideas in that game. And it was fun to play. I don't know, like the whole way Killer Instinct has always worked has always been kind of, you're either into it or you're not. Just the way they handle combos and breakers and enders and links and everything. And I think the current Killer Instinct is a much more accessible and fun game than KI1 ever was. KI2, actually, I played a lot of KI2 or Killer Instinct Gold on the N64 because there wasn't much else to play at launch once you beat Mario. And KI2 is the situation where they took KI1 and said, we need to make this a little bit more like Street Fighter because it's too weird. And so they kind of calmed down a little bit for KI2 in a way that I actually had a lot more fun with that game than I did with the first game. But I think that the current, you know, KI3 would Killer Instinct reboot, whatever you want to call it, I think they did a really good job with that, and it was fun. But it was hard to get good at. I don't know, man. It was just like all the other Killer Instincts. It's definitely a situation where you encounter people that really, 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 really know that system, and it's really fucking hard. Oh, do I have to search from the... How does this not support the arcade version of this game? Why is it? Whatever. This is a great song. I could listen to this song for like 24 hours, man. Yeah. Fantastic. I don't know what else is in MAME these days that'd be maybe fun to take a look at. It's such a long, weird list. Does War Final Assault work? It does. Look at that. It's marked as working. Tenth Degree. Oh God, 10th Degree. Yeah, maybe after this. You think about games that are like late Atari games that are from that era where where Atari was finally going away, where Midway had purchased Atari, and you know, the Sunnyvale operation was, you know, starting to come to a close there. Well, there's a while there that after Midway bought Atari that they actually kept it open, because I remember I went to a Midway event that was at the Atari building. And so we were at Atari Games seeing Midway stuff. And it was just strange. But this is War Final Assault, which to me is kind of linked to the Grid insofar as that in the late 90s, they weren't really sure. You know, there was this idea of like, well, what if we did first person shooters are huge. You know, and why do we got to bring them to arcades? And so it's an arcade cabinet that's a first-person shooter. Just play. Do any of these buttons do anything? Codename Hawk. Kill enemies, collect time. Okay, so the left stick looks... Let's see here. Oh, I see. They just went ahead and keep that stuff on the keyboard. And so it's literally WASD. And then left stick to look, which the sensitivity on this is nonsense. Still need to figure out what the shoot button is. I guess I should have looked at that, huh? Trigger J. J. This says it's set to the mouse should work also, but
Shoot your enemy.
let's see if we can figure out a way to do this. We'll put discard and view over here. I don't even know if that's something that we need. Analog stick. We want the look stick to be the right stick. So X analog is going to be that. Y analog is going to be that. Start button is, that's proper, right? Yeah. Okay, so we got all that stuff. That should be it. I just gotta, yeah, I gotta fuck with the sensitivity. That's all. No, I guess actually I probably want that to stay that. We just want to turn this down to use buttons to move. It's funny they had to put that in there because people probably looked at this cabinet and they were like, what the fuck? This is still fucked. Yeah, this is no better, but we'll tough it out. And so you could link these cabinets together and play like a deathmatch mode if you wanted to, and That's just very expensive for arcade operators to do. Keep in mind also, this game was 1999. And so arcades were in such a weird spot. Fighting games had really started to kind of lose their luster at this point in terms of like earning money at arcades. Home consoles had become so dominant that the idea of going to an arcade just seemed weirder and weirder all the time. Like, why would you do that? And so this was them trying to figure out, like, what are some things we can do to, like, it's a game that if you're playing it 4-player, then you're getting more money and whatever else. But, like, no. Ultimately, the problem is no. And the grid, I think, ran into a similar problem. The grid is a more stylistic, and I think it controls a little better. And they had some different ideas about how to do this type of shooter. As an arcade game, but that doesn't really mean you want to do it. Also, nothing I did to any of those analog settings made this work any better. And so, like, imagine the idea of, like, okay, you've got to make a good first-person shooter that controls well while you're standing in an arcade cabinet. And also, you got to find a way for it to be able to be playable alone, but also, you put quarters in it. And so you need players to die pretty frequently, so you're making money. And so, there's just a lot of just weird design considerations around that. And you had, a bunch of different games kind of trying to do this, trying to bring a shooter style experience to arcades. Outriggers, there's an arcade version of Alien Front before Alien Front Online came to the Dreamcast. So I guess that maybe that Spawn game would maybe kind of halfway count. The Grid. I mean, they did an arcade cabinet, a Counter-Strike arcade cabinet. At one point, like there's a lot of, there's some bad ideas over the years, as they were trying to figure out like what to do. Yeah, that Heavy Metal game, that was an arcade game also, wasn't it? Work. This is a good poster. But like the other thing I'll say about this game is that when you had a bunch of cabinets hooked up and people were playing it and you were doing like deathmatch or whatever, like it was fun. It was fun. Like it was not a bad game necessarily. It's just a fucking weird fit for arcades, and like the business side of it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so that ends up being like the big issue with it is like, why? And it was the late 90s, like, I remember, knowing people that were buying and running arcade games and running locations and movie theaters and laundromats and all of that sort of stuff. Like once those Tekken games started coming to PlayStation looking as good as, if not better than, their arcade counterparts, it was fucking over. It was fucking over, dude. Like, there was just a real element of like, okay, why are people going to arcades? Like, most of the games are not that, but most of the games are not as good as that either. And so, you just have this situation where, there just weren't a lot of good reasons. Yeah, Tekken Tag. There were, you had situations where, like, I think some arcade operators thought that they could maybe boycott Namco games and go like, we're not gonna buy any of your games unless you hold them back and don't put them on these consoles. And I remember talking to an arcade operator that thought that they were like, well, I'm just not gonna buy any of them because they're not gonna support the arcades. And it was like, yeah, okay, I mean that makes sense. I see why you would think that, but dude, this is not going to go your way. There's just there's no world in which this is, you know, gonna happen, you know. So it was just always sort of a weird you know, just a weird moment in time. And it's interesting to go look back on this game now, and the grid is similarly. Well, I'm going to load that up next because I like the grid, but I'm trying to boot this into service mode, but it's not going in. Oh well, whatever. You know, fuck what they're saying here about it not working. This does work in MAME, sort of. But yeah, you can't do the cabinet communication stuff, and some of the graphics are fucked, right? Is that what it is? But I'm pretty sure this is playable. And the grid was neat because it was the Mortal Kombat team. It was like they were just like, I don't know, we're gonna try and make something different, and that was kind of a cool thing in its own weird way. And but like this was so expensive. Again, similar type deal of like, hey, you know, you need to have 4 or 5 of these cabinets linked together if you really want to play this game properly, and that's just not, you know, that's very expensive. 6 machines. Sorry, look at that. You can link 6 machines together. Okay, so how is this mapped? Let's just try it like this and see. Look at this. It's searching for other machines because you can have 6 of them linked together. This is a good reason to go to California Extreme because you can find, you know, I think someone has like 4 of them. I don't know if they always have 6, but they always a number of these cabinets linked up. And because this was the Mortal Kombat team, it's full of weird codes and stuff. Like you can play as Sub-Zero in this thing. And he has Liu Kang's kick, and he makes the noise that Liu Kang makes. So, you know, like they brought some of their interesting sensibilities. It's not the same voice as the announcer from Smash TV, but it's the same type of idea, right? Of hey, this is a, you know, futuristic murder game show. You could say it's a spiritual link for sure. I mean, it's the same company, at least. So do I have... Okay, so I have analog movement there, and then trackball. I guess I would want to put that on this right stick. No? Oh, it's just not... You can see as I'm moving that right stick, it is sort of moving, but not really. This should just be on the mouse, really. Oh, do I not have... I may not have mouse inputs set properly. But yeah, this had a 10 key, like a phone keypad on it. That you would use to enter these codes, which is sort of weird. Yeah, these games, Midway games, always default to really low volume. I need to look at the MAME settings and see. General settings, input device options. Let's put paddles on the mice, dial device on the mice, analog stick. Let's just trackball to mouse, light gun to mouse. I think that at least does what I'm looking for, but since I edited the defaults on the game itself, I might have unmapped the mouse stuff completely. Okay, so it's putting mouse on this, which is movement. We don't want that. We want this to be that, and this to be that. But we want this to be that. Nope, nope. You got to move the mouse very delicately to set this. We want mouse X and mouse Y. And then we got to figure out our buttons here. Let's put that there, that there, and that there. I don't know. That's a mess, but we'll...
You've got 2 minutes to get 4 points. Good luck.
So I can sort of turn here, but because it's a trackball, I have to kind of pick the mouse up over and over again. So you would have to unlock, you'd have to enter a code on that 10 keypad to actually unlock the ability to look up and down. By default, you could not look up and down, but also the game didn't really require that of you. You know, it was kind of that Doom era thing of like, you know, the verticality, we just handle that for you. And I'm sure I could sit here and try to dial in the settings and really get this mouse not working like garbage, but, you know, gonna mess with this for a little bit and then move on. So unlike War, the final assault, I think the Grid, which, you know, these games came out a relatively similar time frame. I think this game has just a certain attitude and flair to it with the, you know, super moves and weird, you know, like weird fucking Mortal Kombat kick and all of this stuff that like gives it something, right? And so I think that helps it. The characters stand out a little bit, and it's just fun, and it's just a neat game. And again, I think it would have, you know, it would have a hard time these days, you know, because there's so many competing products for this sort of thing. But I think if you did a game like this and tried to do something like relatively small in scale and didn't try to do a full-on, you know, $70 first-person, you know, if you're just like, hey, we're going to make a really fun multiplayer shooter type thing, and, you know, it's going to have this kind of bright, colorful attitude and whatever else, I think there's probably room for that. You could probably carve out some kind of space for it.
to get 7 points. Good luck.
Oh, this is probably some graphical glitches, huh? Yeah, so, you know, imperfect emulation for sure. Oh, this thing does not control well at all. I need to... Really would need to dial in the mouse stuff a little bit better. Like some of the same voices as the players in NFL Blitz there. Like, I don't know. Midway had a fucking vibe, man. They were really good at this.
Good luck.
At this, like, specific, like, goofy... Why haven't they made a new Smash TV game? Because Warner Brothers can't ship anything. Who would make it? They just... There's no one left at Warner to make that. They own all the Midway stuff, you know? Oh. Smoked. Yeah, but I think they should, you know, I think someone should make a new Smash TV. You know, even if you're doing spiritual successor stuff, I think that as a framing for a game, the futuristic murder game show is there's still a lot of life left in that concept, and it hasn't been used all that frequently lately either. Yeah, this doesn't I would need to spend more time with. Yeah, the finals is kind of the finals has that game show motif for sure.
Luxurious Midway Meridian Hotel, located in the heart of Chicago, Illinois. Want to get your grid on? Check out the Midway Meridian.
I'm sorry, did that man just say want to get your grid on? Hang on.
Like to be a member of our studio audience? Send a postcard to I want to get my grid on. 2727 West Roscoe, Chicago, Illinois, 60618.
Midway assumes no liability for injuries, dismemberment, or hurt feelings inflicted upon any contestant or audience members during the taping of the grid. That's what you get.
I wonder what people got if they wrote in and said, I want to get my grid on. But yeah, this is a cool game. It's a cool game. They should make another one. They should, you know, these Mortal Kombat guys should be out there making new grids instead. Or in addition, or, you know, hey, as a break between games, or as something. But I just wonder what's the market viability for a game like that in this day and age, you know? Like, do people want... I think there is a crowd of people who want something different out of first-person shooters, but, like, Call of Duty has it so fucking wrapped up that even if you made one that was this kind of, like, stripped-down, arcadey fun... there are so many other multiplayer shooters in the market that are just so dominant. Well, it's not that there's so many, it's that there's one, you know, whatever. And you know, how many people would be interested in such a thing across consoles or whatever. It has to compete with Splitgate. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Splitgate's kind of a different thing, but it'd have to compete with, I don't know, Blind Fire, you know, and anything. There's so many, especially stuff that's, you know, kind of still coming out on consoles and whatever. But like, yeah, if you did a cross-platform, yes, it'd have to compete with Foam Stars, you know. But I do like, I think that the kind of colorful, like, you know, sport-like presentation that they go for in the grid, I think does at least give it something else. And I don't know, if nothing else, I would like to see it. I'm not an analyst. I can't sit here and tell you that, oh, it's going to do gangbusters or whatever. In fact, I'm not sure that it would do very well. But, you know, who knows anything anymore? Stuff just catches on out of nowhere. No one knows anything is the sick thing about video games these days. But you know, there's always a possibility of something like this poking through. I got to get going pretty soon here. But sometimes you just want to play a little Pop Flamer. I got frozen. Yeah. That's a very pleasant noise. So every time you shoot your little water gun, the distance on it is lessened because you run out of water. And so you got to get your drink on down here. Whoa. Hell yeah. Oh. It's dangerous out here. see that guy back up? They don't start doing that until the later levels. Like round 3, they start backing out of the way of your shots. Not unlike the unicorns backing away from, you know, you hammering them through a hole in a little game I like to call Mr. Dew's Castle. Man. All right, Pop Flamer. The Japan Leisure Company. Oh, what was I thinking of? There was another game that I was thinking of that Pop Flamer I often confuse Pop Flamer with another game, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh well. I gotta get going soon here, but thanks everybody for hanging out. Wacko, yeah, no, it's not Wacko. Wacko is, you know, nothing wrong with Wacko. It's no Cosmic Cruiser. Another Midway. Oh, so this is, the controls in this are messed up, or weird. So this was kind of a dual joystick game. You had an analog for movement, and then I guess a 4-way shot. And so the thing here is you got to shoot them, you got in 2s. You freeze the first one, and then shooting the second one kills them. And the way they iterate on that later on is like they can get mixed up. That doesn't happen yet, but it'll happen where like they'll get the top half of one creature and the bottom half of another. And then you'll have to contend with that. Like this, see? Uh-oh. Or shoot mutant pairs for extra score. So you can deliberately mix them up. To get more points. And then they turn into these little dudes. A lot of good noise in this game. But then is the other game, because there's a second, it's another game, right? Cosmic Cruiser is another, or is that just the name of the ship? No one should know that. There is a game, Cosmic Cruiser, right? That it is a sequel to Wacko or something. Like, I'm not making that up, right? Am I making that up? Oh man. It's like Krooz, like cruiser is spelled weird too on top of that. I don't know. Yeah, Cosmic Cruiser. Kozmik. All right. Got a little bit of that Cosmic Cruiser, you know what I'm saying? This game is supposed to have like a background. I think you play it on a... And so it makes way less sense because it's just a weird black screen. But I think it's supposed to have like a realistic star background, and maybe I just don't have, you know, MAME will support artwork files and stuff to often make that stuff work. But I must not have any of that installed, or maybe they don't, or maybe they just don't support it at all. I don't know. So instead, it looks like some real nonsense. This era of Midway is weird for a couple of reasons. One of which is all the initial entry stuff. You only can enter 2 letters. Which is that. I don't know why they thought that was the way to go with it when everyone else was going with 3, but you know, Tron, like Tron is definitely part of this era of hardware. Speaking of games that are hard to play without the right controls. So this is going to be, I'm going to need analog something or other to do this properly. Oh, I guess it's kind of mapped to the left stick, which is not a great... Actually, this first level I should be able to do without having good rotation controls. It's slow enough. Oh, why didn't this come in? Well, that's strange. Let's see if we can fix this. Cosmic Cruiser was just too powerful. And then, of course, the spiders. But yeah, this game had a spinner, so, you know, it was meant to, you know, you're meant to have much more analog control over the rotation on his arm and the rotation on this tank and stuff. You know, it was meant to be a bit more of a spinner style situation, and so emulating it is a little weird. You know, you'd probably use a mouse, which I'm not currently. Oh yeah, I guess, you know. Yeah, so this gives you the speed. You're like, this is almost too much speed. But now I don't have a button that I can reach with my fingers while I'm holding the mouse because it's not mapped at all, but you know. Ultimately, it's no Discs of Tron, which kind of suffers from a similar situation of like, the controls, you kind of need even some weirder controls for Discs of Tron. Because there was a lift up and down kind of element to it. It was a great game. This is a fucking great game, dude. Oh my god. Okay, we just gotta... No, not the enter key, you motherfucker. There we go. That'll be enough for now. Like, this was the thing you wanted out of a Tron video game at the time, was something that represented the cool disc battles. But that first Tron game is more of that mini-game collection. I think this was planned to be in that game, and then they couldn't fit it in there, and so they just ended up making a second thing. Does the first Tron game have a light cycle, or is that another Tron game? It does. But it's not a two-player simultaneous game, so you're not like, you know, actually playing light cycles against another person. You've never seen a proper take on light cycles? I think Armageddon, which is an open source multiplayer light cycles game, is pretty good. Though in some ways kind of exposes, there's an element of that that's like, oh, like this is hard. Like doing this for real against real players is actually super fucking difficult. But yeah, that's existed for years. I think they're calling it Armageddon Advanced these days. But it's an open source game that's existed forever. So you should be able to install it on damn near anything these days. And it's a multiplayer, you know, yeah, it's meant to be a large multiplayer game of light cycles. So it's neat. It's neat. I haven't played it in a very long time. Maybe I'll reinstall it one of these days. But yeah, I'm going to get going, everybody. Thanks for hanging around. We'll be back on Friday to rank some 8-bit Nintendo games. And until then, stay cool. It's hot here. It's getting hot here.